I was researching for District Governor Chenoweth's visit, I wanted to look up how many districts are there in the world, and with our district, how many clubs are there? So why don't we start out with the first one? Does anyone know how many Rotary districts in the world there are? Well, this is either a stumper or, oh, way up, way up. 530 districts in the world for 1.2 million Rotarians. There are 34 regional zones. We are zone number 28. And there are, I believe, 53 clubs in Michigan and 4 in Canada, like 57, 58 in our district. I'm sure Gary can tell us the definitive number, with about 2,400 members in our district. So there's some Rotary stats for all you analytics people. Next, well, someone's going to have to correct me because either my agenda from last week is off or I have. Marianne, are you doing the reflection or is Joni doing the reflection? Joni corrects, Jason corrects agenda. All right.
I just have to start by saying go blue. That's it.
But it's not U of M.
No, it's Dodger blue. The manager is a former student of mine, so I'm very partial to that team. Today's reflection is by Rabbi Shapiro, who's very famous for really doing a lot of interfaith work. Let us pray. We eat and we are revived, and we give thanks to the lives that were ended to nourish our own. May we merit their sacrifice and honor their sparks of holiness through our deeds of loving kindness. We give thanks to the power that makes for meeting, for our table has been a place of dialogue and friendship. We give thanks to life. May we never lose touch with the simple joy and wonder of sharing a meal with one another.
Thank you, Joni. Enjoy lunch, and we'll be back in a few minutes with our visiting Rotarians and guests. We're going to move on now to our visiting Rotarians and guests. If you are a visitor or you have a visitor, come on up to the podium. The Rotarian will introduce the guests. Guests, don't worry, you don't have to say anything, but we just want you to come up here and wave for the people that are joining us on Zoom. So I know Kathy Moore has a guest, and we have a special guest from our district, and it looks like Amy Seymour has a guest. So come on up, Kathy.
I don't know the rules anymore. Can I even touch this thing?
You don't know the rules.
Well, then, yeah, the rules are you can touch it. Welcome. It is my pleasure to introduce Liberty Jakes. Liberty is the West Michigan Director of Infection Prevention at Mercy Health overall. When I talked to Judy Bynes, and when she first told me that there's a regional director now, I was a little discouraged because we're Muskegon County, and sometimes when they go regional, we're like the stepchild to Kent County. But yeah, I know, I don't understand why. But when I contacted Liberty, I asked her to join us. She responded right back, so I feel like she is right here with us. And if we're not her favorite county now, we will be really soon. So Liberty Jakes, everyone.
Thank you. Hello, Susan Crane, past president and past assistant governor. I'm happy to introduce you to your new assistant governor, Kim Bloom, from Allendale Rotary Club.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Seymour, and I am happy to introduce to our club Nancy Johnson. She is going to be transferring to our Rotary from Portage Rotary. Nancy and I coincidentally met this past summer when we were both walking on the beach in Montague, which is where we both live. So we struck up a wonderful conversation, and not only did I find out that she was a Rotarian in Portage, but also she works at a hospice in for Allure Hospice in Kalamazoo in the spiritual care department. So our paths really connected. So, but I'm excited to have her in our community and at our club. So welcome, Nancy. Thank you.
Marty Seitzema has our student guest. Marty.
Good afternoon, Rotary. Here, sneak right over. All right, scooch. I want to get them close. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce some Orchard View Cardinals. To introduce two of their students is Samantha Wilson. She is the new principal at the high school.
Good afternoon. I recognize some faces here because I've been the advisor for the Rotary Club at Orchard View High School since it started. It's glad to see you guys back in person. I know our club has struggled a little bit with being virtual. I had a president last year who chose virtual schooling, so we're just getting back in the routine of meeting on a regular basis and having those meetings face-to-face. So I hope to have an update for you at the end of the year of how our Interact Club is doing. But today I brought two of our top students from the class of 2023. I have Emma Hillard and Marissa Hooker, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Emma Hillard. I'm a junior at Orchard View High School, and I'm supposed to talk about myself. I am currently in the marching band. I'm in show choir, and I do lead for my 4th hour, which means I go over to the early elementary at our school district, and then I help teach pre-kindergarten. So my plans for after high school, I plan on pursuing a career that is involved with mathematical and scientific, like, just that aspect. So, yeah, that's it.
I'm Marissa Hooker. So some things that I do in school involve, I play school sports like volleyball, and this year I'm going to play basketball. And then I am involved in show choir and quiz bowl, and I also am part of the early college program. So I'm going to find my career path while I'm doing that right now.
And they're both 4.0 students.
Of course. It's not often I have to move the mic down, but always after Marty. Okay, we're going to go on now to our program, and we have a very special guest. Gary Chenoweth is our district governor for Rotary District 6290. He's going to share an update with us. We had the opportunity, some of the board and committee members prior to the meeting, to share some of our accomplishments over the past year with him, and he's going to update us on what's going on with the district. Gary spent his early years growing up on a family farm in Burton, Indiana. After graduating from high school, attending Purdue University, go Boilermakers, and obtaining a BS in food science. While at Purdue, he met his future wife, Mary, and later, God bless them with 2 children, Rob and Amy. For 40 years, he worked in the refinable edible oil industry with soy and canola oils for large agricultural corporations. When we were talking prior to the meeting, he had shared that he had visited Cole's Bakery before in his travels to Muskegon. He's lived in either Fort Wayne, Indiana, or St. Louis, Missouri for the majority of those years. After retirement in 2013, Mary and Gary relocated to their favorite vacation spot, Elk Rapids, Michigan. is here where he started his Rotary journey. He organized organization with the motto, service above self, is exactly what he was looking for in his retirement phase of his life. As bonus through Rotary, his many donors opened up through local volunteer network, where he's met many wonderful people. For the past 2 years, he's served as District 6290 Foundation Committee Polio Chair. And what a special day it will be for all Rotarians when polio is totally eradicated from the world. Welcome, Gary.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. What an honor it is for me to be here. I met with your group, and we had a very vigorous conversation. And I was trying to learn. Thank you. I was trying to learn, how it's done best, and you have a lot of the best practices going on here. I'm here. I was thinking last night. I was thinking, well, your club's been around since 1916. I listened to your 18-minute annual report, wonderful reports, and I'm thinking, wow. What am I going to tell those folks? It's different from what they don't already know. Well, I do have a few things. But before that, I have a couple shout-outs. Since I've been in the district governor channel, I guess, one of the gentlemen that I've met and I've really come to totally respect is John Nolan. John, our district is just so fortunate to have John do the things, his Life Leadership Conference, where I met him a couple years ago when it was live. And then I've also been on some conference calls with him where he's talking again about Interact too. So boy, I tell you, we're lucky. We've got a good person there in the youth area. I have one other shout out before I get into the spiel. Susan Crane, would you come up here, please? I'm so glad you showed up today, Susan. And with Mr. O back there. Well, Susan, I've got a plaque here for you. It's being the assistant governor of District 6290 here in this region. Susan Crane is hereby honored for outstanding devotion and service to our district. Can you, anybody disagree with that? I didn't take it out of that. So before you leave, Susan, do you notice something missing on that plaque? Just look at the front of it. Anything missing from that plaque?
Assistant Governor, 6290, the dates.
Well, there's no date. That means you can come back. It's okay. Well, thank you, Susan. Yeah, it's okay. Next year, Susan. Okay, next year. And we'll put you in another region, Florida, okay. Well, again, you're just a representative of the fine folks that represent your Muskegon Rotary Club. Let's talk a little about Rotary, I guess. President Sheikh Ahmeda is our current president. He's from Calcutta, India. The very first presentation I gave was July 13th of this year to the Benzi Sunrise there in Beulah, and I introduced him as being from Kalkaska, India. So I didn't start my presentation cycle very well. But Calcutta, India. And if you read if you saw the September Rotarian, which I'm sure you've seen it, if you had a chance to read about this guy, he was back in 2014 when I started my Rotary journey. He was asked by administrations from the Indian country to help them out with illiteracy. Literacy was running at 25%, and they said, "Hey, we know you're a person of action. Can you help us, come up with a program?" And boy, did he! He came up with the Rotary India Literacy Mission. And if you've read the article, it said since 2014, they have positively impacted over 7 million kids. And that's pretty impressive. So these Rotary International presidents are something. Well, his goal, we all know, right? Do we know? Okay, everyone shout out. what has been the world population, global membership of Rotary for 2 to 3 decades? Nice, right? Correct. 1.2. Well, this year he says, I'm tired of 1.2. Let's go to 1.3. And we're coming out of the pandemic, and we're going, well, and that's fine, 1.2. I never thought much about it until about, it was just a few weeks before I started my district governorship. And I was on a call, a big call, podcast or something of that nature with John Huco. Some of you know John Huco is the CEO of Rotary International. He's been the CEO, the head, general secretary, et cetera, for 11 years. But he was talking about that 1.2 million membership number. And he said something I didn't know, and maybe you do. But he says, okay, we got 1.2, but did you know that North America, Europe, New Zealand, and Australia membership has been dropping like a rock? I did not know that. So what I did then, I do what a lot of you do when you're interested in expanding your knowledge of a subject. I went to, most people Google, I Bing, but I put service club and just got that far, service club. And you know how they normally a pop-up menu try and assist you to get to wherever you want to go a little quicker? The very first line item, the information was service club decline. So I clicked on that article, and it said that this article was written, I think, sometime in 2020, but it said that since 1980, structured service clubs like Rotary has been dropping significantly. In fact, they gave some data, and they said some like, and I forget exactly, I think like JC's Optimist, maybe Lions, maybe a few others had dropped since the 80s 70%. Now, Rotary, we'd only dropped 25%, so aren't we doing well? But I started thinking about that, and I'm thinking, wow, Rotary. I've only been a Rotarian since 2014. It's a beautiful structure. It's service above self, and I couldn't believe it. But at least, now's not the time we need fewer Rotarians. We need more Rotarians, especially in the United States, especially in Michigan, especially here, I'm sure, in Muskegon. You've got a big population to serve. But that's one of his things. But, he's talking about membership. How are we going to get there? And he's got a very simple solution. Each one bring one. If you've read anything about him, you see that all the time. Well, I'm coming in here to a club that already has 222 members, and it doesn't look like you have a membership issue at all. In fact, you have more, I met with your board, you have more committees than most District 6290 have members. And I'm glad you have that, because I was wondering, how in the world do you keep 220, do you keep 220 members engaged? Well, it's because you assign them to a committee, but I heard wonderful programs. But anyway, but one thing I want to say is, you don't have the biggest membership in the district. Did you know that? Did you know that? You know who's got the biggest membership? Oh, I thought it was going to be Elk Rapids. No, it's Traverse City. I got the latest data from Kathy Hingedis on my way in. They're at 227. You're at 222. So get, all you need is 6 more. By the way, I'm going to be in Traverse City in 2 weeks. Why don't you get 7 new members between now and 2 weeks, so that I can tell them that they're not the biggest. Okay, enough of that. Another thing that we're doing, we at the table we're talking about membership, Rotaract. I don't know if you knew this, but you have the Baker College Rotaract here, and I know that Allendale has the Grand Valley Rotaract, and we have the Hope College Rotaract. Most of the times, I was at zone training, which is they put you through this training before you become district governor, and I heard a presentation about Rotaracts. Rotaract clubs, big throughout the world. Huge, especially in North America. But they did a little survey, and they found out, a little research, and they found out that only 5% of Rotaractors became Rotarians. This was 4 years ago. So now you know why you've heard a lot about the Rotaract activity. You know, now instead of being under Rotary, they're kind of on par with Rotary, you know, as far as membership, because they see a significant miss there. Let's talk about district. We've got a guy now heading up our Rotaract committees, district committees, is named Russ Miller. Maybe some of you know him. Russ Miller was stationed with his companies in China for 15 years and started a couple Rotary clubs. So he came, and I think he actually approached the district and says, "Hey, I want to be. I think I can help on Rotaract growth in in our district." So sure, yeah, volunteer. Running a district committee? Wow, come on board. But Russ did. His idea was, instead of, you know, I just named the 3 or 4 Rotaract clubs that we have here. They're all associated, right, with institutions, college, universities, etc. He started a community Rotaract group. And it was just chartered by the Rotary International, July 29th of this year. And it's named Lakeshore Community Rotaract. But it's going to be young Rotarians throughout the Zeeland and Holland area. So I'm hoping that model, I'm really anxious. I'm going to their first actual club meeting the end of the month. And I'm hoping that model is something that we can pass around to the whole district. Let's start these, you know, we got more communities than we have universities and colleges. So at least something for you to consider. The other thing, what else does President Mehta talks about? He talks about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. You guys are ahead of the game. I saw in your video, and then I heard more at the board gathering that we had, your community mixer activity. I challenge your associates there at the board meeting. I says, we need help with that area, you know, at the district level. So you guys need to share your talents and your information and your experience with the district. Let me bring up one other. I just thought of something I was going to bring up at the beginning, but how many? I got a little trivia here for you. How many district governors has the Club of Muskegon provided? 2. Okay. Are any of them here? Okay. Let me ask you. Well, yeah. So what year was the last district governor from Muskegon? 82. Serious? I think it was Bill Austin, wasn't it? I don't know. Kathy told me it was 59. That's what she might have missed one. But she said 2, and I said maybe that was the first one. But forget what John just said about 82. Let's go with 59, 1959. I would have been 8 years old then, and I just turned 70. So it's been a long time ago. So another thing I'd like to challenge this club with, because of, you know, you're kind of a district within a district, that, you know, District 6290 could use your assistance, your expertise. So I think there needs to be a district governor from this area, like real fast. So pick somebody. Okay. I'll get back to, so we already talked about DEI. How about the, we don't have the focus. How many focuses does the Rotary International have? 6? 6? Do I have a 7? Nobody? The right answer is 7 as of July 1st. You guys, I tell you what, I'm going to have to come back later and redo this test. You know, we've had the 6 is fighting disease, promoting peace, providing clean water, sanitation, hygiene, saving mothers, children, supporting education, growing local economies. And what's our 7th and newest one? Protect the environment. So I hope one thing that I think, you know, and we talk a lot about public image, but I hope something that you're planning on, something that started from our neighbors in Canada, is the Great Lakes Watershed cleanup. And it's always a Saturday following Earth Day. And last year it was like April 22nd was Earth Day, so 24th or so was, keep that in mind as that date, you know, and participate, and let's get the word out. Again, more opportunities to share with the community what Rotarians do. Let's talk about polio. I can't, you know, I've been involved with polio. 3 years ago, District 6290 provided over $100,000 to the Polio Plus. Okay, my first year as polio chairman, polio chair 2 years ago, it was $65,000. Last year, this past year, my second year as the chair, $44,000. So now you know why I'm the district governor, because they had to make room for another polio chair. But anyway, let me go back to that $100,000 year. I had something to do with that because 4 years ago there's an article in the Rotarian about I think it was Trenton, Michigan, somewhere down south. They had a jump for polio, and it was written up in the Rotarian magazine. They generated $15,000, and then with the 2-for-1 match from the Gates Foundation, it was $45,000. Not bad at all. I ripped it out of the magazine. I took it to a Elk Rapids Rotary meeting where we happened to have a skydiver. His name's Don. I gave it to Don. I says, Don, you can do better than this. He says, you're damn right. I mean, you're darn right. And he went on and organized a jump of 24 jumpers that generated $47,000. And we tried to get it in the Rotary magazine, but they said, oh, we've already done those jump for polio. So it wasn't big enough, $47,000 plus the match. Not a bad day. Only 24 jumpers. That's because the plane that takes you up, 11,000 feet, and you've got somebody strapped to your back, because if you're a first timer, it's probably a good idea. You got somebody strapped to your back before you jump out of the plane. This plane could only take up 2 tandems at a time. Well, we've been thinking about this in the district, and there's a jump site in Grand Haven, not too far from here. You can almost walk there from here. But it's called Skydive Grand Haven. Their plane can take up 6 tandems at a time. They can 100 jumps, 100 jumps can occur. So since that time, and I've already set up a date, June 25th. Of 2022. And I've already talked to the board about that. I'd like for every club, which is 57 right now, to have a representative. And so I'm going around the clubs and saying, hey, pick the least like Rotarian in your group and have them jump. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's coming up. I'm looking, again, 100 jumpers. Wow, this can be a Guinness World Record. So you want to be part of that. And they also have a green spot that we're going to set up. I already talked. In fact, Grand Haven is unable to host it. So I've already talked to Holland's interested in hosting. Your group's interested in co-hosting. And I think Grand Rapids, I think we're going to try host group here and have a huge festival or party. And Rotarians do the best parties that I've ever been to. How are we doing, Jason, on time? 2 minutes? Okay, I got a couple other things, but I want to get out 2 advertisements. With the pandemic, we also have only had, our last district live conference was 2.5 years ago in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Susan, you were there, weren't you, Susan and Orville? Was anybody else there? Okay, that's the last one, 2.5 years ago. Well, the district governor's home club is always the host. So Elk Rapids Club has already booked from May 12th to the May 14th the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. And I'm sure some of you have been there. I mean, it's a beautiful facility. It's open facility. We got a lot of celebration to catch up on, in this district. So with that, I'm just going to jump. Is there 1 or 2 questions before Jason pulls the rug from underneath me? No questions? No questions? Questions? Okay. Well, with that, all I can say is thank you very much for being Rotarians, because we need more Rotarians than less Rotarians. God bless you all, and God bless the Rotary Club of Muskegon. Really enjoyed the day. Thank you.
Don't sneak away too fast. We got a special award. Gary, thank you for coming and visiting our club today. For presenting, our club is going to make a donation. This is not quite as fancy as a plaque that you gave Susan, which I think if there's a nomination for president, district governor, Susan, you'd be a good one. You'd be a good one. But our club is going to make a donation to community economic development on your behalf. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Jason. Wonderful talk. Unlike Susan's, this has a date on it.
That has a date. Well, thank you very much for the update. It's always interesting to see what's going on in the district and globally with Rotary. All right, we are on to our birthdays, and I don't know if it's a club rule or my rule, but if you're not here, if we don't have anyone here, we don't sing. So, but I'm going to give the birthdays, and if you're here, please bring your $10 up to Kim for the Caring Connection to send out nice little thank yous to people who might be out and about. Claire Root Benson is on October 14th, Jackie Fisher on October 16th, Chauncey Williams on October 16th, and Kim Demet on October 17th. Anyone here? I see one Fisher in the house, but no Jackie today, Jim? She's on Zoom? Well, we can sing to her on Zoom then. All right, let's do it. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right, well, happy birthday. Okay, we're on now to our member spotlight, and this is something that we started up in July to highlight Rotary's vocational avenue of service. That's one of Rotary's 5 avenues of service. And our spotlight today is not only here on video, but here in person. And we're going to learn about what Marika Dobry does.
Hi, my name is Marika Dobry. I joined Rotary in 2011 or 12. I can't actually remember. But I know that Gene Fefke walked into my office one day and said, "Hey, I think you should come to Rotary with me." And of course I said yes, because who wouldn't say yes when Gene Fefke invites you out to lunch in his convertible? So I joined ultimately because I was very impressed with the group of people I got to meet that day, and I really wanted to be one of them. My husband and I met on a golf course, so we golf often, as much as we can. We're members up at White Lake in Whitehall. We have 2 children. Margaret is 5 and Thomas is 2. Some of you probably remember that each of them has been my guest at various Rotary luncheons all the way from right after they were born. Each of them has come in their baby carriers with me to lunch, and now the kids play golf with us. I am an attorney. I am senior counsel at Warner Norcross and Judd here in Muskegon. I recently closed my solo practice to join Warner. I specialize, well, don't technically specialize, but I focus my area of practice on trusts and estates. So helping people with a plan. Fortunately, everybody dies, but we can help you plan for it. And I take great pride in being able to give families peace of mind to plan for that. So I am an excellent planner. That is in my job title. A lot of you guys have worked with me before on Parties in the Park. One of the things I love to do is fundraise. I'm currently a board member at Harbor Hospice Foundation as well. I love to raise money, which is fantastic when it's for a good cause. And that's one of my favorite things to do. So as part of my planning practice, we do a whole lot of organization. So I bring some peace of mind and some clarity and some good practical common sense to the table.
Thank you, Marika, for sharing with us. We're on to our committee reports and announcements. And if you have an announcement, just email me by Tuesday-ish. Just don't walk up to me at the meeting because that will throw my flow off. But if there's some emergency announcement you feel compelled to make, please do. But we have an announcement from Kathy Moore. She is going to lead us off today, and then I have a few other announcements to share. So, Kathy?
Thank you, President Jason. So Public Health would like to recognize and thank the many Rotarians who helped initiate our community COVID-19 vaccination clinics earlier this year. I wrote this down so I wouldn't stray. Your volunteer assistance in calling, scheduling, promoting, and staffing vaccination clinics substantially helped Muskegon County achieve vaccine coverage of over 87% for residents age 65 and older. This is one of the highest percentages in the state for this age group, and we absolutely could not have done it without the Muskegon Rotary Club. So next week, we are hosting a third dose booster clinic at the Wolf Lake, or in the Wolf Lake room at Delta Hotel during the Rotary meeting. The clinic starts at 11 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. Nancy McCarthy and Darlene Coulee has volunteered to help administer vaccines. Marsha Hovey-Wright has volunteered to help with paperwork, and we need 3 more volunteers to help with paperwork. We need 4 because we're going to divide it into 2 shifts so that you can also enjoy the Rotary program. 1 shift from 11 to 12:30 and another shift from 12:30 to 2. We invite any Rotarian who would like a 3rd dose of Pfizer, their spouse, their friends, and or family members to participate. So I can't invite you to Rotary, but you can come to the Wolf Lake room for a vaccine. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That's how you do a Rotary announcement, prepared, succinct, and to the point. So I expect nothing less from a past president. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, other announcements. Congratulations to one of our newest Rotarians, Chip Chipman, on completing his Red Star orientation, and also transferring Rotarian Christy Pollock. So congratulations to both of them on completing their orientation. I have an update from Aaron Bozart on our latest food truck. I do not know how many food trucks we've done, but this was the latest. Does anyone happen to know how many food trucks we've done this year? 87. It's probably less than 87, but it's been significant. We had a successful Rotary food distribution this past Saturday, partnership with the Whitehall Montague Club at White Lake Congregational United Church of Christ. 75 vehicles went through, and we were able to distribute food benefiting 181 individuals, 79 of which were seniors. Our next food truck will take place on Wednesday, November 17th at Temple Methodist Church in Muskegon Heights, and contact Arn for more information and to volunteer. This is from Nancy McCarthy. It's about our diversity, equity, and inclusiveness book club that's going on Wednesday, October 20th via Zoom. There will be a discussion of Heather McGee's The Sum of Us, her TED Talk, which is a wonderful book. I just finished it, and I would encourage anybody who's interested in learning about the impact of racism on the economy to read it. I learned a lot that I did not think of and had really never crossed my mind. So that was really enlightening. This TED Talk discussion will happen on the first and second Tuesdays in November, and that's coming up. Well, let me rewind. The discussion is Wednesday, October 20th, and then there will be a discussion of the book on the first and second Tuesdays in November. If you need a copy of the book, see Nancy. She brings them with her to club meetings. Also from new, soon-to-be, Rotary member Contessa Hood, just a friendly reminder that there is a Muskegon Heights Business Association community cleanup this Friday, October 15th from 9 to 1, and they need more volunteers. So see Contessa if you would like to come out and volunteer. We don't do fines anymore. I'm not sure about my take on fines, although I do get entertained when Kevin does them. But this, I would think, is more of a celebration than a fine. This is our very own Melissa Buffner, and she is featured on the cover along with her husband on the Norton Shores Living magazine. So if you don't live in Norton Shores and you'd like to read about Mel, this is a great article. So check it out, and congratulations, Mel, on that. It was very nice. And then lastly, I just want to welcome back from the bottom of my heart, Mike and Maggie. Thank you for rescuing Kim and I. I think one of the things of doing these hybrid meetings is the amount of work that goes into them. And last week I thought, well, I'll come about 11 and get set up. And if you would have saw Kim and I scrambling before the meeting, it was a miracle that we even got some of the Zoom out to people. So I'm not going to say what time they get here, but it's very early to set up. And I could have recited Merica's vocational spotlight by heart because they were testing the audio during our meeting. So thank you for everything you do. We really appreciate it. Okay. On to our raffle. Frank Peterson, what are we doing first? 20, 10, or 5? 20. Starting at the top. Josh Silvis, person of impeccable integrity, is drawing. 931. Is that Jay Griffin, or who was that was our major winner? Oh. Annette Jack. This is for 10. $10. Ooh. That was the last. Okay, good, perfect.
977.
I missed that one. Okay, that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. I want to thank Gary, Kim, Samantha, Emma, Marissa, and Liberty for visiting us today. Our program next week, we will be back at the Delta, and we'll hear from one of our own, Todd Jacobs, along with his colleague, Jeanette Mayer, and they're going to give us an update on the Community Foundation for Muskegon County, part of which is their fantastic rebranding that they recently did. So I'm sure they're going to talk about that as well. If everyone could please rise, we'll do our four-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.